What a week. You know, like I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think we got him. I think in case you didn't know, Diddy Diddy has been arrested and charged with just almost everything. Initially, it was sealed, and we just knew they were going to be holding him for a little while. And then they unsealed, and we were like, what? Because Diddy is very important for people to understand. Diddy is, when I say a monster, it's just because I don't want to swear. Diddy isn't a monster the way that, like, a person in your life that you know is evil is a monster. Diddy is a monster in the way that I'm pretty sure even the devil is like, ooh. Ooh, somebody coming for my job. And I know that, you know, you're supposed to say allegedly. But he did all of it. He did everything. He did everything that I believe that Diddy did, whatever they say he did. And that doesn't just apply to like the cases he has now. I believe Diddy did stuff he hadn't been accused of yet. I believe Diddy caused inflation. He's even, if I'm not mistaken, being charged with arson in connection with blowing up Kid Cudi's car. Who blows up cars? Let's talk for a sec, because here's the thing. I do understand the intimidation and the general paranoia you build in a person's life when you blow up their car. All right? So I get why people like Diddy and the mob blow up cars. It's very effective. You know, somebody's thinking about testifying and then they're going out and then they go, beep, beep, boosh. And they're like, maybe not. But to blow up a car, really, because he's not blowing up the car himself. Diddy wasn't getting under the car with something with wheels on it in the back and then rubbing wires together and then taping it and then letting the tape fall and be like, and then taping it back. He sent someone else to do that, you know? But they arrested him, and they arrested him. I gotta look at this again to make sure I'm right, but I'm pretty sure the warrant had every name he ever went by in it. Just in case he opened the door and been like, who? No, I don't know a Puff Daddy. No, there's not a Puff here either. Would you be looking for just a general Diddy? Because he's not in. I go by Brother Love. This man did everything. You know, and then they arrested him. They got him locked up in Brooklyn in one of the worst places to be locked up. It's really bad. Here's how bad it is. It's so bad that prison alone has had several murders, several. And it is so bad condition-wise that 2 federal judges have already said that they will not send anyone else there. That's where they sent him. And this dude... That's where they sent him. And this dude wanted to make sure he didn't go to jail so bad. So bad. Properly. Like he put it all up. This dude was willing to pay a $50 million bond. Do you know how much you did it? To put up $50 million. $50 million is the type of money where you're like, I can't, first of all, most people don't make $50 million in their entire life, right? So for you to put up that money, just not be in jail yet, you know jail is coming. $50 million. Do you know what you could do with $50 million? You could fix a small country with $50 million US dollars. $50 million. And he was like, and I'll use my home and my jets as the bond. Like, this dude was putting up proper collateral of things he has. Mansion, jet, all of it. And the state said, nah. Just to fully paint the picture, do you realize that the same country that said nah to that is the same country that has bail at heights that are actually unconstitutional for regular people, right? They will, if a judge doesn't like you, or if they feel like, okay, this person maybe didn't do it, but I know he doesn't have means, they will set an unreasonably high bail, which is against the Constitution, just to make sure you can't get out. But they didn't deny your bail. They just set bail at something you couldn't possibly pay, right? That same country got offered $50 million bond. And they were like, nah, because I know you. You know how bad they want you if they don't accept a $50 million bond? And so he's sitting in that jail, and his lawyers are trying to get him out. They went to that judge, and the judge was like, no, I heard what you do. You blow up cars for no reason. How am I supposed to believe? They're like, he's not a flight risk. It's like, no, he won't have to fly if he tampers with every witness we have. No. So the judge denied bail, and then they went to another judge, and they were like, look, $50 million, okay? Got the mansion, got the jets, all right? We also, how about this? I'll stay at home, all right? And I won't interact with any women that aren't the mothers of my children, right? Which is a crazy, what? I won't interact with any women except the women I already terrorize. What an insane. Also, we know you're a predator to dudes too. Like that you're not being slick, being like, I won't talk to any women. No. This dude was the devil. So they denied it again. And his lawyers were pleading. They were like, please, listen, the prison that he is in it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. It's terrible conditions. It's traumatizing. It's in his mental health. You can't be at a place like this, And then the more they described it, the more I was listening. I was like, that just sounds like Diddy's house for everybody else. And raided his house, found all manner of stuff. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. let's be clear here. Diddy is a monster. Diddy is the devil, right? The 1,000 bottles alone was enough for me to lock him up forever. Are you drinking it? 1,000 bottles. 1,000. Booga booga. I went to a friend's house one time, and it was just like a little quick get together. They had made dinner and everything. I went to the bathroom, right? And I had a headache before I got to the party. So then, I told them while I was there, I was like, hey, I've been having this headache for like hours. Do you have like an Advil, something I can take? And they were like, yeah, go to the bathroom in the medicine cabinet should be the Advil, right? And so then, chatting, I finally go over to the bathroom. I open the medicine cabinet. The Advil is not there. And so I go to that lower part, under the sink. I'm like, maybe the Advil will be under there. And under the sink, I saw 3 bottles of baby oil. And I was like, these are some freaks. They do not have a child. And they had 3 bottles of baby oil. 1 bottle means you get busy. 3, what are you stocking up for? The fact that Diddy had 1,000 means he should be under a prison right now. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like to be Diddy's lawyer. You gotta imagine it's a pretty good job to have. Because he's about to drop millions and millions of dollars in court and on lawyers that no one expects to win. Think about that. Anyone in here could be Diddy's lawyer. Like, he's not gonna beat the case anyway. It might as well be me standing there like, yeah, that's him. He says he didn't, so take that into consideration. You know what I mean? Just filing motions. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, what can you do if you're Diddy's lawyer? They have so much. They have so much because Diddy did so much. He did it and he recorded it. He recorded himself doing everything he did and blackmailing people. So then when the people say he's been blackmailed, the feds already have the tape that they're talking about that was being used to blackmail. So he basically made his own case this entire time. As Diddy's lawyer, all you can do is be like, that one tape is grainy. We don't know. We don't even know if that's him in that one, okay? The other 222, yes, but this one is hard to make out who is in there at all. We don't. Diddy's lawyer was on camera taking questions from the media, which seems like a bad idea. Because unless Diddy has a twin, his lawyer doesn't have anything to say that's helpful. Because the lawyer was just talking to some of the press, and there was someone who asked them. They said that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil when they raided his house, and his lawyer did his best. He put in a valiant effort. This man said, well, I don't know if it was 1,000. It was a lot. That's your lawyer. It was a lot. But you know, there's a Costco just down the street from his house. And as you know, Americans love to buy in bulk. The whole time he's talking, you could tell he's trying not to laugh. It's like, if he's buying the baby oil in bulk, why wasn't anything else in bulk? It's insanity. We should have known, and I think a part of us did know, that Diddy was the devil when he did Making the Band. If you're too young to remember, there was a time when MTV had music on it. And in that time, Diddy, who I think went by P. Diddy at the time, maybe, or Puff, or it was Puff, he was him, okay? And he did a show where he would try to make a group, right? A hip-hop group or an R&B group or whatever. And throughout the course of that show, he would America's Next Top Model these people, all right? He would put them through absolute hell. There was one time that I think he made them walk, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he made them walk from like Brooklyn to Harlem to go get him a piece of cheesecake. And we watched it and we were like, that seems excessive. I don't know what that has to do with singing. The show ran for a few seasons and a couple of people came out of it, but most of the groups pretty much failed because he wasn't really making a group. He was just manipulating people. He was just being terrible, you know? I think we should have really known who Diddy was through and through a couple Halloweens ago. Because I don't know if you remember, but Diddy went as the Joker, and he was an impeccable Joker. This dude had prosthetics on or something, and he looked more like the Joker than Heath Ledger did. This dude had the hair and everything flopping to the side and stuff, and he had the movements going. He had a purple suit, had the green hair and the red lips and the big scars and everything. It was truly terrifying. And everyone he ran into was like, oh, good costume. Chose Halloween to dress up as the Joker. Halloween, a day where we all put on a mask. We all pretend to be someone else, except that nigga. Like, that man was just wearing his true skin. This dude was walking around as a Joker like, I've never felt more free. Everybody terrified when they look at me. He rolled up on Tyler, the Creator. And Tyler, the Creator, was just looking at him like, He got into it that night with an actor on the show Power. I believe his name is Michael J. Ferguson. And I don't know what started the altercation, but all I know is people started filming it, right? And it was Michael J. hands low and everything. He had big muscles, he a big dude and everything. And he's cursing Diddy out. Right now, he just thinks he's cursing this weird Joker out, I think. You know what I mean? Because he's just going at him. What? What you gonna do? Nothing. You know? And then Diddy, for his part, you see the turn. You got to see every little piece of Diddy in that moment. Because at first it starts out, and I really don't even know who was in the wrong, but Diddy just seemed a bit offended. He was like, what did I do to you? I'm just out here trying to have fun and everything. And then you see a turn, and then he's like, well, then let's go. Why would you? And then the threats come and everything. And then someone else goes, yo, Mike, that's Diddy. And he doesn't seem to care. He just keeps jawing at him. And then Diddy, for some reason, decides to like let it go, right? Even gives him a hug. And he was like, oh, it's all good, man. But how about you come to the after party and check the vibration? And I was like, man, this is the devil. Where is Batman when you need him? There's two types of blackmail that Diddy engaged in, right? One was the blackmail that was coercion, right? It was basically, he would have these freak-offs. That's the name of it. I didn't come up with that just now. Don't look at me like I'm sick. I saw your faces. I said it because it's the official term. It's in a government document now. It's not just street slang. It's not Twitter talk. They said, the Attorney General said freak off when he was addressing the nation. So I'm saying freak off. Well, he would have these freak offs, right? And, you know, he would be recording while it was happening. And one of the things that he would do is that if somebody was an unwilling participant and they ever turned on him or told him that they were going to go to the police or they just weren't going to do what he said, he would tell them he had a tape of them and they wouldn't want to get that tape out, right? So he would blackmail them that way. But the other way he would blackmail people is he would have these wild parties and he would be taping everybody. So if you just show up and you do something you're not supposed to be doing, maybe you cheat on your spouse, maybe you do. He's got blackmail on everybody, top to bottom. Two types of blackmail. It's absolutely crazy. So many people want this dude dead. They put him on, they put Diddy on watch, make sure he doesn't hurt himself, because it would make a lot of sense. If there was ever a time to do it, it'd be now, Diddy. And so they put him on watch and everything, and that's gotta be wild to be like a powerful person, one of Diddy's friends, you know, knowing you were at some of these freak-offs, knowing that he has dirt on you. He might tell on you, and you just sitting there at home just praying. You know, I don't know who wants him dead more, his victims or his friends. That dude is such a monster, and now every clip of him being weird ever has resurfaced. And it turns out he was being weird the whole time. This dude went on Conan and basically just started giving a blueprint for how to get people at your party to take their clothes off. This dude was on Conan O'Brien. Conan was sitting there being like, this sounds bad. And by the way, this is old, this isn't recent. This is like what looks like early Conan. So it's still a little grainy, even though I was watching it on Twitter. And he's over here and he was skinnier and he had his shades on inside at night and everything. All the stuff we used to let him get away with. And he was like, oh, yeah, you know, you want to make sure that you don't have the air conditioning on, you know, and you got to really have a lot of alcohol for people and a little bit of water, but mostly alcohol. And Conan was like, oh. You could see in Conan's eyes, he was fighting to find a commercial. He was Diddy talking like it's nothing. And like, he's like, oh, yeah, okay. Oof. This is one of the wildest things to me about Diddy, right? Is that he made an enemy a long time ago in a man named 50 Cent. $50 Cent hates Diddy so much. Okay. You ever been in a situation where, let's say there's somebody that you work with, right? And y'all, we're both just regular people, but y'all work together and you don't know what it is, but you hate them. And it's not even because they're bad at their job. They're not even being particularly annoying on purpose, but you can't stand. Every time they pass by, you want to grit your teeth. You hate them. You don't even know why. You don't know where it came from. You just hate them so much. Maybe they have a little quirk, or maybe they chew real loud. Maybe they chew so loud you can tell what they're eating. You know, just something real gross. Maybe they swallow weird and you can hear their esophagus and stuff. And y'all take your lunch at the same time, so you sitting in there while they eating, enjoying it, yumming it up. You put your AirPods in, you can't drown it out. You still hear and then every swallow just and you're like, that I hate. Ooh. And then things keep happening because y'all work together. Y'all work at the same job, so you have to interact with them. Maybe they're even in a different department, but you have to interact with them from time to time, and you hate it because they always bring up the weirdest conversations. They got a lot of feelings about tube socks. 6 sentences into a conversation, you're like, who is this dude? What? Y'all get each other for Secret Santa. You're like, I don't even know what they're going to get me, but I know it's going to be weird. Can't stand them. And then one day you're at work and you're at your wit's end, you know, because you hate them so much that you've actually been watching them. Watching them, waiting for them to do something fireable. You know? You even buddy up to HR just so that whenever you bring your case to HR, they'll be like, hey, yeah, buddy, I got you. I've been worried about him too, you know? Going to work, you can't stand this dude. You hate him so much. Sometimes you just look at the back of his head and you don't even know it's you doing it, but all of a sudden you standing behind him and your fist is right there. You hate this dude, and then one day you're at work, regular day. You at work, he's at work, and out of nowhere, you couldn't have imagined it. Truly out of nowhere, Homeland Security comes. And arrest this dude in his big mink coat or whatever he's wearing. No, I don't think anybody felt, more vindicated that was on the outer edges of Diddy's sphere than 50 Cent. 50 Cent had hated that dude for years. And look, 50 Cent isn't the one. Don't mess with 50 Cent because not only is he funny, which is already dangerous, he's so funny that you can tell he a natural bully. You ever been bullied by somebody and then went and tell people what they did and the people you told were like, that is funny though. Like that's... I know it's wrong, but that was pretty good. Like, because we're not talking even about bullying in the terms of violence. I'm talking about bullying in like waiting for you to get real excited about something and then tricking you right at... Okay. 50 Cent, early in his career, he couldn't stand a dude named Ja Rule. If you don't know who Ja Rule is, then 50 Cent did his job. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule and hated him in a way that I was like, something deeper is going on here. Because you don't just hate a coworker this bad off of nothing. But he couldn't stand him. He felt like he was fake. There was even a series on BET called Beef. Beef was amazing because Beef would make these mini documentaries about different beefs that were happening in all of hip-hop, throughout history and currently. And at the time, one of the current ones was 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And they had interviewed both of them because what they would do with the show that was brilliant was that they wouldn't just like give you this like faceless, voiceover David Attenborough documentary style. Like, they really got interviews from everybody, you know? And so then they interviewed Ja Rule. At one point, he was on the couch with some of his buddies, and they asked him about 50 Cent, and he was just, who? 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 And they interviewed 50 Cent, and 50 Cent was ready. I don't know where 50 Cent was, but I think he made the smart decision to go ahead and be on a balcony or somewhere outside in case he got loud. And he just went in on Ja Rule like they had been longtime enemies. These are two dudes who I'm pretty sure don't know each other at all. But 50 Cent, at one point, he even said, this dude, I'll never forget this. This is when I fully understood like hate on a petty level in my life for the first time. Because I was a teenager watching Beef on BET. And he was on the balcony, so the balcony railings about here. And 50 Cent just, they did a perfect job with the editing, by the way. They keep cutting back and forth. So every time they give a detail about Ja Rule, 50 Cent said something treacherous, right? It was really great, you know, because then Ja Rule would say something along the lines of like, I'm a star, I don't need to worry about up-and-comers hating on me, blah, blah, blah. And then it would cut to 50 Cent. 50 Cent would be like, yeah, go hang out with the pop stars and Christina Aguilera, whoever you want, if they'll accept you. But dog, you're fake. Like, it was like he was getting angrier and angrier throughout the interview. And I remember the interview because the last time they cut to him, I've never seen anything like it. They cut to this dude one last time, and he just went, psh. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule. And then Ja Rule got into it with Eminem. And Eminem and Dr. Dre had, signed 50 Cent, and they were a huge part of his career, especially on the come up, and they collaborated a bunch, and they, were touring together. They would have toured together more if Eminem hadn't decided to stay home and be with family and stuff like that. They tight, right? Making incredible music together, classics. And Ja Rule went at 50 Cent, went at Eminem, because he didn't have a crystal ball. He couldn't see the future. And it went terribly for him. I mean, Eminem just ripped him apart in several songs with references. There were moments, Eminem is too funny, Eminem had a song with him. Haley's in the song, and she's like, is Ja Rule bigger than me? And Eminem said, no, sweetie, y'all are the same size. And Eminem, for his part, was very much above board. I don't really have a problem with you. I was even almost about to squash it. And then you mentioned my daughter's name. My daughter's a kid, man. And so he just went at him, right? And destroyed him thoroughly. But 50 Cent was on a different level. 50 Cent was like, I don't think that this will ever be over. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you apologize to me. Never be over. I can't stand this dude. And Ja Rule goes to prison at one point. I don't remember what for. A part of me thinks 50 Cent had something to do with it, but there's no way for me to tell. But then, if I have my timing right, Ja Rule gets out of prison, and no matter when, I could be wrong about the timing here, but I know that the thing happened. Basically, Ja Rule has a concert, and it's going to be like a big comeback, like get my career going type of concert, like a welcome home party, a revival of Ja Rule's career. And the tickets actually sell fast, which I was perplexed by. Because I was like, how? Not even as a hater, just like, I don't know. It's like if you found out everybody in the world was actually into air hockey, you'd be like, I had no idea. You always see the table there, but So the tickets were selling fast, and nobody was probably more excited than Ja Rule. And then the day comes for the concert, and Ja Rule goes out, and it turns out that 50 Cent had bought most of the seats. I do my best to put myself in other people's shoes. And I tried to imagine what it would be like if I came out here and y'all weren't here. If it was just 3 of y'all in the back that I had to yell to. Imagine that, trying to still do the show. Yeah, it's crazy out here. But I said all that to say that 50 Cent and everything that happened is to show you that that's the dude that hated Diddy. Hated him so much, hated him to his core, couldn't stand him. For years he hated him. There was even a moment, okay, I'm sure you saw this, but in case you didn't, it's one of the things that really showed me that he hated him on like a petty level, a professional level, business level, all of it. I'm pretty sure it was Diddy that posted a picture of himself. I don't know where he was. Maybe it was New York, maybe it was not Miami or something, but he was on a bike and he was just riding his bike, and then 50 Cent commented, he's smiling because there's no seat on that bike. $50 Cent is funny, and he's not the one. If 50 Cent came at me, I'd be like, should I just shoot myself in the leg or what? Don't want any problems. I'm very sorry for whatever I did. Please don't do this. Because I don't know when it really started, but you take it back, all the way back to the early part of 50 Cent's career, and he's popping, he's killing it, right? Get Rich or Die Trying is an all-time hip-hop classic. Curtis, all-time hip-hop classic. This man is pumping out amazing music. He's having incredible tours and everything. And at one point, he goes, this is years later from the time I'm talking about, but we're going to get back there. He goes on the Breakfast Club, and he talks to them about, things he's promoting, and he's just chilling and everything. And Diddy comes up and he tells this story of being at a wedding. I don't remember whose wedding, but he was at this wedding and just hanging out and everything. And Diddy's there, and Diddy's chatting him up, being like, man, I like you. You real cool dude and everything. Like, yeah, we should hang out. Let me take you shopping sometime. And then 50 Cent said, what? And Diddy doesn't say anything wrong, so he repeats it. He's like, no, let me take you shopping sometime. And he was like, man, get away from me. Because Diddy is so hated by 50 Cent that apparently a decade ago, 50 Cent just started gathering information on Diddy. As much as he could find. And he started working on a documentary series on how bad Diddy is. A documentary. He did interviews. He hates this man so much. I've heard of gossip. I've never heard of like, no, okay, we're gonna have the whole crew there by 3, all right? And we'll have a place for you to sit, we'll have some snacks and everything. We'll just chop it up, we'll just chat. Tell me everything that he did, that bastard, right? A documentary series that he's already potentially sold to Netflix. He hates this. I've never hated. So I not only do my best to not be a hateful person, I really try to let things go and not hate anybody. So I don't even know what it's like to hate someone. So I've never hated someone. So imagine hating someone so much you're willing to edit. You're willing to sit at the computer and be like, no, that's not. Let's see if we can make this B-roll work. This dude hates him so much that there's actually things on the cutting room floor that didn't make it in. Imagine you hate somebody so much you don't even have time for how much you hate them in the thing you made about hating them. And the craziest thing about it is that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been hearing. I looked it up from several outlets, and 50 Cent's documentary series about Sean Combs is titled, Diddy Do It? This is the worst enemy to have. You know, you read even some of the stuff that Diddy's accused of, and now some of the text messages have leaked of what people were saying to him and what he was saying to other people at different stages, leading from Cassie coming out about him to present. And yeah, this dude is the devil, you know? But it's also, you're gonna need to be patient with me because I'm gonna try to say it right and I'm probably gonna fail, but just hear me out. You can tell that these people texting Diddy, the things that we've seen so far, because the trial hadn't even started yet. So the things haven't even come out that are the things that people are worried about. Because trust me when I tell you, Diddy the Black Epstein, they already put that dude on watch. But you can tell that he was a terror to so many people for so long, you know? And it's indicative of how we don't believe and protect each other. You know, it's really important that we do. Someone like Diddy is a prime example. When someone comes to you and they tell you that something happened, not only do you need to hear them out, you need to listen to what they're saying, but you also need to, with them, try to find a place where they feel comfortable to tell you more. You know, and what can be done about what they're telling you? Because sometimes people tell you something, they don't know what else to do. So they tell you and they're like, don't tell anybody, don't do anything. Right. And I'm not saying you should disrespect a person's wishes. I'm just saying that on top of that, you really have to talk it out with them and be like, are you sure you don't want me to do anything? You don't think that there's any recourse? You don't think, let me bring you options. Let me try to help you through this thing. Right. Because we don't do a good job of believing women, but I'm telling you this, and I know it's not going to sound right when it first hits your ears, but please hear me out. We also need to do a much better job of believing men. Because it is not easy at all. It's one of the scariest things that a person can do to come forward as a survivor of anything that's happened to him. And when a woman comes forward and people do the thing, we already know what they're going to do. There's almost a playbook online of how they're going to treat her, what people are going to say, what's going to happen if it goes to trial, why now, they just want money, all the things. They never fail, right? But when a dude comes forward, you got to remember, this dude was probably willing to take that to the grave. And then something happened where he was like, no, I got to say something, right? There's so many people who would rather die than have people find out what happened to them. So if they tell you, you got to believe them. So many people are letting the fact that Diddy's bi overshadow the fact that he's a monster. That's what's crazy to me, is that it's like, oh man, Diddy was over here trying to kiss the back of this dude's neck. It's like, yeah, you mean assault him? Yeah, I know. I think that's why I'm so thankful for the era that we're in now of people being able to find things on the internet, just at large. I know the internet's a big place. I know there's a lot of artists, a lot of creatives and everything, but the fact that it's now more than ever in the hands of the people, as far as creativity goes and as far as like putting your work out there goes, it's a beautiful thing, because one of the reasons that people like Diddy were able to prevail for so long is because they had something. They had something that they could hold over people. They had power. They had money. They had your access to getting your work out there. And so people, let people like Diddy manipulate and put them in situations they would never be in otherwise, right? But he had the power of a label. One of the best things that Cassie's lawyers did with that lawsuit was implicate all the labels. They didn't just sue him as like Sean Combs. They were like, no, I'm suing everybody. I'm suing the whole thing, because the whole thing's connected, because you use the thing to manipulate. But you don't just walk into a room and be like, I'm Sean Combs, everyone get naked. That's not what's happening. You use the label. You use the fact that you can shelve people. You use the fact that maybe their projects will never come out. You use the fact that they're waiting on the money that they need to fund their project. You use all of these things, and you say things without saying them. And before you know it, you have people in a horrible situation, And one of the main things that I can't stop thinking about is how Diddy was able to get away with being Diddy for so long. Because there's so many times, there's so many little points in time where so many people's lives would have been different if Diddy had just gone to jail when he was supposed to go to jail, the other times he was supposed to go to jail. Like if you think back, way back, Diddy used to date J-Lo. And when Diddy and J-Lo were dating, they were like a hot couple, and they were always in the tabloids and stuff, and everybody was following them around. I remember, I can't remember if it was the VMAs or the BET Awards, but she went to some award show with a dress that had everybody like, God, that's J-Lo, that's crazy. Oh, and she became this it girl and everything, and she was dating Diddy at the time, and they went to a nightclub together. And when they went to this nightclub, I don't really know the circumstance of the fight starting, but somebody got in a fight with Diddy, right? And it's hard to tell when you in a fight at a nightclub. I've been to nightclubs before. I know it don't seem like it, but I've been to nightclubs before, and I've almost had some altercations at nightclubs. Not even because I meant to. I was just in there, just walking, having a good time, and then maybe somebody's yelling at you. Maybe they're trying to get your attention. Maybe they're trying to fight you. It's hard to tell all that stuff from regular dancing at a nightclub. Because when you see people dance at a nightclub, depending on who it is, they look like they're in their own fight. They look like they're in a battle with the rhythm. They look like they're taking swings at the melody. So it's hard to know that they want to fight you. And then people yell at a nightclub, but yelling is how you talk. It's so loud in here. Like I was in a nightclub one time, I was walking, and I must have like stepped on this guy's shoe or something. I didn't mean to. And he was like, like yelling at me, trying to get my attention. And I just turned around and I was like, ha! And that's... That didn't do me any favors, right? Because I really didn't hear him, but leaning over and being like, ha, that's just offering up my face for the punching. And so Diddy got into some altercation with some dude, and no one knows everything that was said, but it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of like, well, I make money too and everything. And then apparently he grabbed some money and he threw it in Diddy's face, right? But This is the way I'd like to imagine it, because apparently it flew up in the air. And I think the only way that could happen is if he had the money, balled up in that roll of money, right? And that roll of money that you just keep together with a thin rubber band, right? So that way when it hits something, the whole thing explodes. And he's like, I make money too. And he threw it and it hit Diddy on the head and just pow. Then it started to rain, right? And so then, gets in this altercation. And then Diddy allegedly pulls a gun out, right? Starts firing off at this dude, okay? And whole gunfight ensued and everything. And that was one of the wildest nights because, Diddy and J-Lo were not quite I wouldn't say clean cut, because they were still party and hip hop, everything, but they were this it couple. And now this horrible thing had happened and they were at the center of it, right? And there was even a whole trial. And at the trial, J-Lo testified that she only saw Shine pull out a gun. Now, Shine, if you don't remember, was a rapper who was popping at the time. And he went to jail by himself for 10 years. Diddy didn't go to jail. And there was even a woman named Natanya Rubin. And Natanya Rubin has said many times, she never stopped saying it, that she saw Diddy pull his gun. And she knows that Diddy pulled his gun because Diddy shot her in the face. And she survived and everything, but she didn't get any media attention or anything. And then, publications just ran with the fact that J-Lo said Shine did it, and that was enough. Shine was guilty. He was off to jail. But even to this day, Natanya Rubin is like, you need to reopen the case. I'm right here. And she had her surgery and everything. And I mean, to a certain degree, I watched her. She did an interview recently, and you can't really tell, but she says she lives with that pain because there are fragments that they couldn't get out, right? And she's like, he need to reopen the case. I want justice, And the journalist asked her, would you be willing to give one of the fragments and do the forensic test and everything, because they didn't do one apparently. And she said, yeah, of course. I got 9 fragments. I can spare one. The thing that did Diddy in, really, truly, from his own nature, from his own core, were money, power, and fame, right? And money, power, and fame is a dangerous combination. Messes up a lot of people. Money, because, guys, money. This is what trajectory of money does in the mind. When you have no money and you just imagine having some money, that's even enough money. When you have no money and you're like, man, it'd be nice to eat. That's the money for the meal in front of you is all you need in your mind. It's why people who are desperate, truly desperate, walk up to you and they don't ask for everything that they need. They ask for what they need to get by. They ask for change. They ask for the next thing that they need, because money changes perspective. As the more of it that you get, the more you become not necessarily an insane person, but your ideas, your wants and needs, they start to shift. And they usually, at a certain amount of money, leave Earth. Why do you think all the billionaires are trying to go to space? They're like, I did it all. I did everything here. What's up there? Can I own that? That'd be nice. Money messes with your mind. And then sometimes you think, man, if I had enough money for this thing, I'd be so good. I'd be so benevolent. And maybe you would. But maybe you wouldn't. Maybe having that money and getting attached to it would attach you to it so tight that now I don't really want to have less than. I don't know anyone working in America that's willing to get paid less. We all have, and some of it's just human nature. We all have a little upward mobility, thinking about what's next, thinking about how we can build up. I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm saying at a certain amount of money, you just lose your mind. And then power. Money and power, they get people to do some of the same things. Money, I'll give you an example. I was in Vietnam a little while ago, right? And the Vietnamese dong, which is their currency, right? One of our dollars is about, at least at the going rate right now, currency exchange wise, is about 24,200 dong. So if you go there with your yearly salary, you are a billionaire in dong. And we look at our billionaires a certain type of way. We look at them as like, why is this piece of shit hoarding all this wealth? Is he out of his mind? Does he not know how many people he could help? This is crazy. It's billions and billions of dollars. And then you talk to a billionaire and they're like, oh yeah, well, I had this idea of how we could like get to space and stuff. So I'll just do that. It's like, we're dying. Why would you? No one cares about space. Why are you hoarding all of it? And then you hear, even in like a billionaire's, I listen to the audiobook because I don't like to read about, I want to know a billionaire's life, but to read it and learn it all slow feels upsetting. I'm just like, let me just let someone tell me so I can feel like I'm talking to a friend, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit smoother of a process. But you talk about, you know, like a billionaire, and the way that they think about us is insane. There are even billionaires that have been, they've said it. Different billionaires are different levels of like loose-lipped. And there are billionaires that have properly said to a camera that they knew was recording, if people knew how good my life was, they would bring back the guillotine. That's what he said. And then you hear other billionaires tell it, and they're like, well, you know, if people are too dumb or too lazy or too scared to take the chances to make money, that's on them. The way that they think about us is insane. But then you see an American, a Brit, maybe somebody from Australia, go to Vietnam and be a billionaire, and it is harrowing how many people turn into our billionaires there. I watched it. I was in a market, right? And there was this British lady that was trying to haggle with this woman who had made this like homemade, like knitted little bag, right? And she was charging like, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 dong for it. Now remember, I told you $1 was 24,000 dong. And this British lady is actually like haggling with her. Like being like, what about 4,000? She's like, no, 5. It's like, what about 475? No, 5. And she doesn't know much English. And the British lady's getting annoyed with her. And I'm getting furious because I'm like, you realize the pound is doing better than the dollar. So you're just haggling like, what if I gave you nothing? Would nothing be good? What about nothing? You would love nothing though. Like if I gave you nothing, that'd make me feel better as I left. And this person is a billionaire, at least right now. You can tell that they're broke in Britain, though. Like, only a broke person would go somewhere else and then try to be rich really hard. Like, that's... I don't know why you fronting. You know you could only afford the flight. I don't know why you acting like this right now. Acting like these people are trying to cheat you out of something. You know you already have a leg up. It's crazy. But it is how billionaires think sometimes. Because then when we work at a corporation that's $1 billion, maybe even you work at Apple, Amazon, you work at one of the truly big ones that's about to hit the trillions of dollars, right? And then you want a raise, and you want a substantial raise, and it's nothing for them because they have billions of dollars, and they're still like, why should we give you anything? It's the same mentality, right? And so Diddy had money, and he had the type of money that makes people do things, bend to your will and everything. And so he bent it, and he had power. And this is the thing about power. I'm someone who wants very little power. Because I don't know, I can think about what I might do, but I don't know what I would do with power. That's terrifying. Don't give me power. If I had the power to make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls, Whether it was like X-Men mind control or if I just had enough money that he would do it. Like, if I could make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls nonstop, his balls would never rest. I would go overboard with my power. And Diddy had lots of power. He had power, he had influence, and used all of it to garner more and to truly hurt people. He didn't care who he hurt. You can see it when you read the indictment. And he did it for long as well, you know? And then fame is the last thing. Fame, you can't actually control, especially now. There are people that want to be very famous, and they might get there. And then there are people who don't mean to be famous at all. But then someone's just recording, and then a TikTok is made. Like, there are people who become famous overnight, and all they did was trip. That's too random. Fame is the one that gets away from you. Money, you can decide how much money you want to keep, how much money you want to make, especially if you have the means to just be making boatloads of money. You can take a step back and be like, a lot of money is enough money. I don't need all the money. Power you wield, and power you can also give away. You can tell someone, I want to bring you in. I want to make you powerful as well, right? Fame, not really. There are plenty of people that the industry has tried to make famous, and we were like, nah. But people with power, people with money, they can promise fame, even if they can't deliver. And because they have so much money and so much power, it looks like they can give you fame. And so that's another way that Diddy manipulated and abused people, was through his fame and the promise of fame that was to come to them. Right? And money, power, and fame is actually what screwed Diddy. Not just his own. The fact that he finally met up with the U.S. government. No government is more powerful with more money or more famous. And when you put the two up against each other, his is, money and power and fame of the U.S. government, the money that they have. You think you have money, they can freeze your money. You can show up to court and they'll be like, oh, you broke. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought you had money? Oh, I feel terrible for you. It must suck to be broke. They can freeze your accounts. Power? You want to talk about federal power? Look at the conviction rate of federal prosecutors. It's in the 90s for a reason. People either plead out or they're like, no, I'm going to be vindicated in court. And the U.S. government is like, I bet you won't. Fame? What government is more famous, especially as far as their judicial system? What government is more famous than the U.S. government? They looking at Diddy right now like, oh, you blew up Kid Cudi's car? That's cute. We killed MLK. And Malcolm X. No, you're done, bro. It's over. Because I think about how's a person become that evil? You know what I mean? And so a lot of it is ego. Ego's a dangerous thing. Ego is like a dish that only feeds you false fruit, right? Like the more that you eat off of your own ego, the more you starve your spirit. Like it's the way to sickness, Like ego is this like still small voice, right? Telling you The most important thing is I. Like ego stands in like the middle of pride right there. But then when things happen, when consequence comes, ego never shows up. Ego is like a friend. Ego's like a friend that's like, hey, come on. The door's unlocked. Let's get in this house. Come on, let's just see what's inside. There might be some good stuff in there. It's like, but it's not my house. Come on. Then ego gets you to go in there. And then you're like, there's some shiny stuff. And then you start grabbing stuff. And then before you know it, you see blue and red lights. And you're like, come on, we got to get out. And ego's gone already. Like, I think about how it got here, you know, and how many people Diddy hurt and why he was allowed to get away with it for so long. And I can't help but think that a lot of what he was allowed to get away with is because it happened to black women. You know what I mean? When people say protect black women, they don't mean that black women can't protect themselves. We mean that when you look at the stats and you look at who the powerful people hurt because they know they can do it, it's the same people. I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope Diddy gets life. And I hope he lives forever. I know I've never been like balling out of control or anything because in my adult life, I've never lived somewhere that didn't have a mouse for a period of time, right? And a mouse will humble you because a mouse, you'll be thinking you got it all together. You got it all figured out, everything. You know, you'll even be looking at your bank account and be like, wow, I'm killing it. I'm doing very well. And then in the distance past the laptop, you'll see a mouse scurry in the corner. You'll be like, I could do better. That's fair, right? But this is what bothers me, is that anytime you have a pest in the home, people act like it must be you. Like it has to be your fault, exactly. Expressly your fault, right? But it's like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm picking up after myself. I'm grabbing the clothes off the floor. I'm not leaving any food out. I'm vacuuming. I'm sweeping. There should not be a mouse in my... I'm not trying to have like a Disney Pixar experience, right? Like it's just... This happened, you know? And then, like, let's say, goodness forbid, let's say you actually had a mouse problem, and then you went to work, and you told somebody, yeah, I got a mouse in my apartment trying to get it taken care of. Your coworker would be like, oh. You sure you should be here? Like, yeah, I mean, like you inviting them over or something. It's very frustrating, you know? Because, like, goodness forbid, once again, but let's say a different pest came in your home. Let's say a burglar broke in, right? And the next day you go to work and you tell someone, it's like, my home was burglarized last night. They would be like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. That's such a terrible thing. You must have been terrified. Are you okay? Is everything all right? They would show compassion. They'd have empathy. They wouldn't be like, ugh. I guess that's just how you were raised, huh? Like, do you see the difference? It's very frustrating because, like, I'll give you an example. When I lived in Chicago, right, I had a mouse in my apartment. I had lived there 2 years, no mouse, and I finally had a mouse in my apartment. Now, I lived in an apartment complex that was near some other ones, and a bit south of our apartment complex was a building that had been condemned for humans, but it was a mouse mansion, right? Like that's where they were. That was the spot, right? And everybody knew it. And eventually the city tore down the building and they took down this ratatouille tenement. And obviously the mice were like, where should we go? Probably next door, right? And so for the first time ever, right? I had a mouse in my apartment. But the way that I found out was horrible because I had a friend over. Oh, and so my friend and I are chilling, and then this mouse, he doesn't scurry along the wall and then turn the corner like they're supposed to, right? This mouse walks out in front of us, coming from what I can only assume was a nap. Because this mouse had the nerve to walk out and stretch on the rug, getting a deep stretch too, really bouncing with it as he moved. You know, like when your puppy wake up, you know what I'm talking about? And they put that other foot in the air, they really getting that whole back leg going. And the worst part about this happening in this moment is that when you tell your friend that, wow, I've lived here 2 years and I've never had a mouse, this is the first mouse I've ever seen, you sound like a liar, right? Because if this is the first mouse you've ever seen in this apartment, why does he seem so comfortable around you? Why is he stretching the back leg like he pays bills once in a while? Why is he getting so easy going, letting that back pop like he pays rent every once in a while? And so I was like, clearly I got to take care of it. So I called the landlord who calls the exterminator. And one of the frustrating things, I'm actually glad it went down this way. Because usually when you call an exterminator, that's when the pests in your home want to act right. As soon as you call the exterminator, that's when they're like, oh, you got company. I wouldn't dream. Oh, so landlord calls an exterminator. Exterminator comes the next day, right? I open the door for the exterminator. He takes about 2 steps in, and that's when the mouse that I saw yesterday runs past his foot, scurries along the wall, and then just turns the corner, right? But then my exterminator goes, ooh! And for the rest of the time he is in my home, he refuses to put his full foot on the floor. So he's just consistently walking around like, so how many you been seeing? Because you know they say, oof, oof. He was poking his head indoors where he would go in the room and stuff. And he was like, you know they say that if you see one, if you see one, there's 3 of them. I'm like, they is you. We can't both be scared, dog. Like, oh, it's devastating. You know what I mean? Because I'm not immune. I've done the same thing. Sometimes, someone tell me they have a pest or something, but we gotta be more understanding. It's like nobody wants this in their home. But I had a friend one time back once again while I was living in Chicago, and he told me while we were out having lunch that he was having a bed bug problem. And when he said it, I was like, ooh. So how many you been seeing? And he was like, don't do that. You're not itching. I'm like, we don't know. We don't know. It's important to humble yourself. Understand that you could be in any situation. You really could. I don't care who you are in here. I don't care where you live, where you come from. Every single person, every one of you listening to me right now, all of us are 2 flies in the home away from seeming nasty. That's all it takes. One fly could happen to anybody, all right? One fly means you just opened a window. Two flies. What do they see? What do they smell? I mean, two flies means one fly went and got another fly. I was like, do I have a place for us? I was reading this story. You know how during Halloween, there's always this weird thing where they're like, don't just let anybody give your kid candy. There's people out here putting razor blades and apples, right? There's people out here putting drugs in the candy. Just really watch your child's candy, right? And you know how for the entirety of Halloween in America, that's been like a myth? Like that's just not a thing that's happening, you know? Plus, if somebody give you an apple at Halloween, I'm never going to find out a razor blade is in it. This apple is going straight back to them through their window. If they get cut in the process, that's on them, you know? And as far as, drugs in the candy, I mean, I don't know. Come on now. Even if that was happening, a child on drugs like acid is just the way a kid acts anyway. Yeah, I mean, little cousins I've had that have walked up and told me a story that I've only heard again from a college friend who was deeply on acid. Like, that's... Adults on acid and children just operate at the same frequency. You know what I mean? Telling you stories about animals that don't exist and stuff. It's like, all right. Extra hyper. Yep. Check. Most people who babysit like a 5 or 6 year old are dealing with the same sort of struggles as a drug crisis center. You know, over here running around, I can't find you half the time. You have a little bit of sugar, you can't stop shaking, you won't go to sleep. If anything, drugs might slow a child down. But I bring it up because in New Zealand, there were about 60 pieces of candy that were donated to this food bank, so it did go out via the food bank, and the pieces of candy were meth, right? And they were just like meth, and they were like pure meth. Like it was like the methy Jolly Ranchers meth. Like I can't express enough how much this was just meth, right? And they said that, they've been doing everything they can to recover all the pieces. They put out a warning and everything. And the company, they've contacted the company that it was wrapped in as a hard candy of and stuff. But most of the people that tried this meth hard candy spit it out immediately because they were like, it's just nasty. It's just real bitter. It doesn't have the oomph to it, right? Like, if anything, it's too pure. There's not enough sugar which is for the best. That's good, because apparently this little hard candy of meth had 300 doses of meth in it, which is terrifying, right? I'm glad that it was very nasty. People spit it out immediately and stuff. And what's crazy is that, okay, this is a part of the story that I wasn't fully sure if I was reading it right when I read it, but basically some people who had some sort of like adverse effects, like feeling a little nauseous or a little like jittery, because it's meth candy, so they were feeling a little jittery after they had a taste, even though they spit it out, 300 doses in a little hard candy, right? But they called the food bank and told them, like, hey, some of that candy making me feel weird, right? So then some of the staff at the food bank also tried the candy. Which feels like a weird way to test for drugs, you know what I mean? He was like, I don't know, these hard candies might be, they might be like condensed mushrooms. It's like, well, only one way to find out. And then the staff also spit out the candy immediately because it just, I can't imagine meth is delicious. And they said that they exhibited some adverse effects, feeling a little, little stomach ache, little jittery, little disoriented and stuff. And so they're trying to get to the bottom of it. But I don't know. It low-key feels like the candy company was just kind of trying it out. You know what I mean? Like just to be like, we got to do something, all right? We're falling behind Starburst. We're falling behind Nerds. We can't keep up. We got to mix it up a little bit. Whether I'm like reading reviews of things or just like falling down different rabbit holes online, it is apparent that we have a deep problem, everybody, with like oversharing online. I know so much about people that I'll never meet. That feels crazy. You know what I mean? And it's to our detriment, Like that's us. Like we're gonna have to explain to our grandkids what Twitter was. When we're like grandparents, we're gonna have to sit our kids down and be like, yeah, when I was coming up, there were people who would just tell everybody what they thought without anyone asking. And ruin their own life. You know what I mean? They would just wake up and be like, I don't need a job today. And then they would just admit things that they could have kept in their head. Because you watch a lot of it happen, especially like when somebody, because it could happen to anybody. When anybody's like just going through the internet backlash of a day. Maybe you said something, maybe you did something, maybe you were caught on camera somewhere or something like that. And then even when a person tries to defend themselves, it's too far gone. And then even if you do a good job of defending yourself, and even if the thing isn't what people thought it was, that never rises to the level of the initial thing, right? And so, it just feels like a lot of unforced errors in life when people do this stuff. And they're still doing it. Sometimes I still see people post a thing and I'm like, you could have told no one. That's wild. Why would you do? Everyone's mad now. No, I just wish we could bring back diaries. Remember diaries? Remember journals? Remember when you were like a kid and you would just write in that? And it would be your deepest, darkest, most personal secrets. All of your like internal thoughts, your whole internal monologue would be put on paper somewhere. And then you put under the bed. And it was a violation. It was the deepest violation if your parents read your diary or read your journal or something like that. Because those ideas, those thoughts were truly private. Like you had to work them out of yourself and you had to put them somewhere. But they were for safekeeping for just you, right? And so they'd be under the bed, wherever, and then finally, years after you write that stuff, right? You're maybe about to go to college, or you're just moving out the house or something. You flipping the mattress for the first time in 4 years, and you see, no, my journal. Oh my gosh! And then you look through some of the pages, you read a little bit of it, and you go, oof. Who is this? Oh no. Oh, I'm glad that's nowhere else. Because now I can burn it. And no one will ever know. I remember I found one of my journals from when I was a kid and I was like, oof. This is pretty horny and racist. Man, I don't know what I was on. This is wild. I gotta throw this through the shredder now. No. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I'm trying to just navigate things. Like I do my best to be a good person. I'm sure everybody is to a certain degree, even if it doesn't feel like it. But like, I don't know, man. I'm like liberal, but my friends are like liberal. Like I'm liberal as in like we believe all the same stuff. Like if you go down the list, I'm like, yeah, that. Yeah, me too. I do as well, right? So we believe the same stuff, but when they say it, they just, they say it all slow and touching their chest and stuff. It's like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like, you'll be like, no, I believe that a woman should have autonomy over her body, right? And then they'll be like, I believe that a woman should have autonomy over her own body. I'm like, yeah, you said it slower. Like I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I don't know what some of that is. Sometimes I don't know if that's just like them trying to impress somebody. Because the person I'm talking about is a dude. Like, I'm like, there's no way you feel it this hard, bro. Like, that's suspicious as hell. It really is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird when something is like, and don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way. Just listen, hear me out. It's wild when something that you want to fight for and help someone fight for, right? But it's not your direct, like in the moment, your direct body or problem, and you're madder than them. That's suspicious. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you meet a white person, they're like, you know what really gets me? Segregation. Based off of how you said that, there's no way that's true. There's no way. I don't believe you for a second, right? Because I get into weird arguments with my like liberal friends because we literally believe the same things, but then they take it a step further than feels logical to me, right? But we would still like vote the same way and do the same. We would still be at the same rally. But they just stomping harder, like that's gonna do something. I'm like, like I had an argument with one of my friends, where he was talking. I don't like when sometimes academics will pull a thing that works in theory and it works in like academia, but it doesn't work in practical life, right? So I was having this argument with my friend where, he was basically saying that black people can't be racist because racism is prejudice plus power, right? And I was like, that's, don't do that. Because a part of me gets what he was trying to say. A part of him was saying, like, look, anybody can be prejudiced, and prejudice is hate and stuff like that, but black people systematically have not had the power to exert their hate over other people, right? And so until then, black people can't be racist, right? And I was like, but part of what you're saying is true, but when you say it out of your mouth, you make the whole thing sound wrong. And so now I'm arguing with my friend, and it's even weirder because he's white. He's white, and he's a man. He's the man from the abortion example. Like this is the same person. He's a white dude that gets real mad about abortion and thinks that I can't be racist. So then I get in an argument with my friend. We're at a Denny's, by the way. I get in an argument with my friend that black people, we can be racist. Don't. Now I'm yelling in a Denny's at my white friend about how racist I am. But the point I was trying to make was like, look, I see what you're saying, and historically, I get that if you're making this example for like a different time, right? But when you say power, do you mean power of the individual or power of the group, right? Because individually, there are very powerful black people that could exert their power over other people, right? But if you're talking about power of the group, then yeah, maybe we'll never get there. I'm just saying, like, power of the group, I don't see an all-black Senate happening anytime soon. Yeah. But still, I was like, you realize, we both acknowledge that, like, prejudice is bad and hate is bad. And so that is the thing that people mean when they say racism. You're getting into this, like, weird argument around the word that's distracting from the thing that actually bothers people. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? So then I'm now having to give examples of me being racist to prove my point. We're still in the Denny's. They won't bring the check because I think they're worried about me, right? So then they won't, because I'm being too loud. And so then I'm like, no, I can be and have been racist. And I have to take account of when it happens. I take accountability for like both my thoughts and my actions, what I say to people, because we're all people. We're all trying to find a base level of like understanding and kindness towards each other. So then I have to take accountability for when I do make someone feel bad, right? And whether that thing is whatever, justified in the moment because of how they were reacting to me or completely unjustified based off a preconceived notion. I have to take stock of this. I have to take responsibility for myself. It doesn't matter that there are other disenfranchised people out there. I can't scapegoat them to act however I want to act, right? So then I was giving an example of me being racist. Okay. I'm not saying this is right. It's just how I am. And I'm trying to change. Remember that. But I look at my white friend, okay. I feel, when I see my white friends struggle in the sun, I don't really care. Like, that is racist though, because it's an entire group where I'm like, then do better. Like, it's like, that's not right. You know what I mean? But I look at white people struggling in the sun the way I imagine, not calling anybody out, but it's the way I imagine they look at black people when we like can't get along, right? It's like, it's not really my problem, is it? Do better, I guess. You know? No, it's tough, because it's like, I don't know, I'm liberal, but I'm not like liberal. Like, still working some stuff out, you know?
Give it up for Josh Johnson.
I've been loving getting to watch in real time the indictment of New York Mayor Eric Adams. This dude sucks so much. It's so bad. This dude sucks. I don't know who your mayor is, but be glad it's not Eric Adams. This dude is the worst. He's so corrupt. And it's like corruption. This is what's disappointing about Eric Adams' corruption, is that it's like petty. Do you know what I mean? We expect politics to be corrupt. It says a lot that we do, but a part of us You know what I mean? And what does that say about us to a certain degree? I think about that a lot. What does that say about our expectations, that we expect corruption? You know what I mean? At lots of levels. You know, city councilman did this thing, president did this thing, whatever it is, we expect it. And then when people run, we don't really believe in them. Maybe if someone can make us believe in them along the way, that's the person that we vote for, because we're like, wow, this person's different. But different from what? The expectation is corruption, you know? And he's corrupt in a way that's truly disappointing. It's a shame. It's embarrassing how easy a politician is to buy. You could lease a new Subaru, or you could buy a politician depending on the position of the state. The things these people go down for, we're talking not money if we're talking politics, right? Like if I was a senator and I wanted to be corrupt, you'd have to get me good. You have to take care of me, because I might lose my job. I might go to jail. I need a nest egg to protect me. You know, something to look forward to while I'm in jail doing all that time for doing you a favor and being corrupt. Like, that's why I don't agree with it, and I'm glad he's going down for it. But Menendez makes sense. He took gold bars. That's cartoonish corruption. That is like full on 1950s cartoon corruption. That is New Yorker political cartoon corruption, to just take actual gold bars. Where do you get gold bars from? And then take the gold bars to do the favor for the person. This is what's funny about Eric Adams being indicted, is that New York City is, and this is coming from someone who lives there, and I do love it in New York, right? But New York is a dirty place, all right? Inside and out, okay? It's one of the more corrupt places. So to be the first mayor to ever be indicted with corruption charges in New York City, you gotta be one of the dumbest people who has ever lived. It's a city of corruption, and you got caught. That's crazy. Sometimes I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he could believe it. He was like, y'all, this is what we do. How y'all gonna get mad now? I did the regular amount of corruption. I didn't even go overboard. I got some flights upgraded. Why would y'all? No, it is that dumb. This dude, Eric Adams' corruption is so petty. This dude about to go to jail because he let Turkey upgrade some flights for him. He basically is going to go to jail for what is Delta Gold Medallion. Like, it's just... It's very petty. Some nice meals, some flights. That's great. That our mayor, New York's mayor, all it took to buy him was just treat him like a bad bitch for a night. Like, it's... Do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how much money is in New York? I need at least 6 skyscrapers to be as corrupt as Eric Adams. I'd be like, take care of me. No, I need land. What are you talking about, a flight? A flight where I might fall asleep and miss my corruption? No. Because you know, sometimes you get upgraded by your airline, you get all excited, you like, oh, I'm sitting in, got the extra leg room and everything. I can kick for no reason and stuff. And then you wake up at the destination and you're like, dang, I didn't even enjoy the free glass of champagne and orange juice. That's his level of corruption. It's so dumb. He sucks. But Eric Adams started as a cop, right? And I actually watched this video of him. This is
It was a very entertaining watch. Basically, when he was a cop, he did a video. Maybe he was still a cop. I don't know. Maybe he had retired. But anyway, he used his police expertise to make the video. And it's basically a video where he shows parents how to search their children's rooms for drugs and guns, right? And the thing that's amazing about it is that clearly one of two things happened. Either Eric Adams told whoever was shooting the video to just go fill a room full of crack, or Eric Adams kept using the same 6 crack rocks in between takes. Because he was pulling crack out of places that didn't really make any sense. Like those... When you have crack, the intention is to smoke it or sell it. And where he was pulling, because then, first of all, the room didn't make sense. Because the room is supposed to be a child's room, right? But the room has stuff for a kid that's about to head off to college or somebody in preschool. Like, there's just too much going on in the room. The room makes sense if you were never going to leave that room for 26 years. Like, it doesn't... The room did not make sense at all. So then Eric Adams would do weird stuff like he'd be like, looks like a regular tricycle, right? But if you pop this tire right quick, you pop this tire, pull it out, what do we find? Crack cocaine. It was incredible. Like, looks like a regular doll, huh? But if you stab it in the back and rip it open, what do we find? Crack cocaine. And honestly, like, look, I even get the spirit behind what he's doing. But if your child is on crack, there will be other signs. Besides a heavy tricycle wheel. I've never seen a kid on a bike with a flat tire and been like, we're losing the youth. It's insane. This dude is over here going, a simple jewelry box. But if we open it, what do we find? A loaded gun. A pillow? You gave your child a pillow? And thought that they weren't gonna do the worst with it? You reach in that pillowcase, what do you find? A Glock. My favorite was standing near a bookcase. And he didn't say these words exactly, but the feeling that I got when I was watching him was just, you think your child reads? You think your little baby boy, baby girl reading in here? No. They're a child, and we all know children are what? Crackheads. You open this book, and what do you find? What spills out? Crack cocaine. No, it was incredible. It was truly, the only thing he did do was pull crack out of the gun. Like, but, and I can't stress this enough. Eric Adams is like terrible. He really is. Like, He really is. He's the worst. It's so bad. He sucks. He sucks so much. You should be so glad he's not your mayor. Like that's. Oh man. I'll be honest with you. I didn't do the research. I don't know who your mayor is. I just know it's not Eric Adams. So you got 2 legs up on New York City. This dude, first of all, when he was running, he was corrupt. The dude was running. And he was already doing stuff where we were like, if it's not illegal, it's weird. This dude told the story of, because, he's a cop and he reminds everybody all the time they used to be a cop, right? And it depends, because he does a thing that's real sneaky. He's really good at it, right? Where he was a black cop. So in some rooms, he's black. In some rooms, I used to be a cop. And never the 2 rooms shall meet. If like... It's crazy. Okay, so this dude, when he was running, would tell the story of a fallen officer, right? His friend that he loved dearly, who died in the line of duty, and he loved his friend so much that he keeps a picture of him in his wallet with him all the time, right? And it's a heartwarming story because no matter your feelings on cops, no matter your feelings on like the criminal justice system, I think everyone can understand what it's like to lose a friend, right? You can understand what it's like to lose, especially when you lose a friend when you're both in danger. Maybe you both were in the military together. Maybe you're both cops. Maybe you served in some way and then you lost your friend. And no one's going to know what that was like except for people who it also happened to, right? And he kept the picture in his wallet. Except the picture in his wallet that he showed people was printed out by his staff members, and they threw a little coffee on it to make it look old. And that's before he did anything illegal. This dude is the devil. Like, he really sucks. This dude, I don't even know how he won. He doesn't live in New York. You know how usually you have to live where you're the mayor of? I'm not going to make any assumptions about your mayor, but I'm assuming they live here. I imagine your mayor doesn't actually live in Illinois. That would be weird, right? To come over and be like, hey, I'm here with y'all. We're in this together. I'ma go, though. Dude lived in Jersey. And then it got outed that he lived in Jersey. And so at the last second, he had the New York Times try to help him cover it. And they did a profile of him at his house in Brooklyn that he was clearly walking into for the first time. This dude walked in. You could tell he had never been in there before. He over here like, and as you can see, my wall. If you don't have one, you got to get one. All right, these walls are fire. This dude walked in, and clearly, whatever staff was trying to help him look like he lived there, I feel like they tried to like Ocean's 11 it and like did it a little too late because they were clearly moving stuff into the place to make it look furnished. But then he probably called them and told like, hey, I'm on the way now. Y'all got to get out because the apartment did not make sense. You walk in and in the living room is the bed. That's the intern who had to drop the bed like as they like, what? And then, they go, he opens the fridge because he really tried to do this MTV Cribs for the New York Times, right? And so then he opens the fridge and he's like, blat out my snacks, right? And there is way too much meat for Adams to be a vegan. There's so much meat. It looked like it was stocked by Hillshire Farms. There's way too much meat in there. Not even mistakable meat. Not even like, oh, I thought the Impossible Burger. Like, it was full on meat. And when they ask him about it, he's like, oh, my son be sneaking in, you know what I mean? Because you know how when you have kids, as parents, you know how when you have kids, they sneak into your home and leave food, you know what I mean? In the fridge uneaten. You know how children are. All they do is leave food in the fridge and smoke crack. That's what children do. This dude is the worst. This man brought back stop and frisk. If you don't know what stop and frisk is, it was practice in New York where basically the police could stop you at any time and frisk you, check you for drugs and weapons and stuff like that. It was very popular under like Giuliani and stuff, but it was like found to be pretty disproportionate because they would just stay in one place and check everybody there. So it was just black and brown people. It was mostly black and Hispanic people that were like stopped and frisked. And it didn't even really work because the people with guns and drugs were like, I'll stay home. They found when they did studies on it that, more often than not, it was men, over 9% men. So it's like 99.3% men of the stop and frisk. And then also in the 90s were black and brown people. So it was like, I think like 5% white, right? Which is just go all over New York. You're allowed to stop and frisk. Just stop and frisk everywhere. Just do the Upper West Side. Do you know what I mean? Just be like, hey, what's in the briefcase though? That could be full of anything. But they didn't, so it was found to be like an unconstitutional practice. It was found unconstitutional in 2013, and the New York police like disbanded fully in 2020, and then Eric Adams brought it back. Which is odd, because this is my thing about Eric Adams, and what I mean about that chameleon move that he does is that Eric Adams, I don't even know the exact particulars of the story. All I know is that he was arrested when he was a kid. Some people say he was a member of a gang himself, right? And that he, got beat up by the police. He tells this story of being a victim of police brutality at like 14, 15. Him and his friend got caught. They had done two things. I think they had stolen some checks or something, and they stole something else, and it was when they were trying to cash the stolen check they got caught, and basically they got beat up at the police station. And apparently the way that I believe Eric tells it is that these white cops were beating him and his friend up, and then a black cop came in and told him to stop. And he was like, and that was the moment I decided that I wanted to be a police officer, turn my life around, everything, because I just saw the way that black cop moved, right? He's like, I saw the power, the respect. I saw the fear that people had, and I was like, okay. It's a weird thing to pull from that lesson, but all right. We're all our own people. And so it's weird to me that he's so adamant about being punitive as someone who grew up the way that he grew up. It's very odd that he doesn't see himself in any of the youth that he wants to arrest or wants to punish. Like and that's even only part of why he sucks. Like, he sucks. This dude sucks so much. He's the worst. Oh, They opened the investigation into Eric Adams the way that the feds do, which is quietly. You know what I mean? The thing that's scary about the feds is that they always get you. Their conviction rate is in the 90s. So it's basically done. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when they show up, it's only a matter of time, right? And the feds opened an investigation into them, and this is like a year ago, that they came through and they were like, hey, we're gonna need everybody's cell phone. Your whole team, right? Which is already not great. Probably every mean thing I've ever said is on my cell phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try to be a good person, but if you pull up on me and you snatch my cell phone, you're gonna be like, oh, you an asshole, okay. The cell phone feels safe. You know, and the feds roll up and, take his laptop, his cell phone, everything. And this is how you know, this is how a guilty dude moves, right? So he goes ahead and gets swooped on when the feds come and get everybody's cell phone. And he's like, oh, actually, my cell phone, I don't have it on me, right? I don't have it. And they were like, okay, we'll bring it first thing tomorrow. And he brings it. Next day, brings it, right? And then he's like, actually, I had changed my password to keep my aides out of my phone, because you know how aides are, always trying to face ID you and see what your business is and everything, even though you emailed them personally and stuff. But like, try to keep my aides out of my phone. So went ahead and I'm giving it to you now, but just know that I had to change the password, keep my aides out of my phone, and I just forgot it. This dude moves like a man who cheats. Like, that's crazy. And the feds basically had so much on them that they were like, oh, we don't need your phone. Because we have every other phone that you text. Ooh. There's even instances of Adam's aides knowing things were illegal and then being like, y'all, this is illegal. They said it in the text, but y'all, this is illegal. I don't think he'll want to do it. And then you know that text bubble? He'd be like, hey, this is illegal. I don't know if he'll want to do it. And then the person from Turkey or wherever would be like, are you sure? And then the text bubble... that bubble be cooking, right? That bubble be bubbling up, right? And then it go away for a second. And then it come back and be like, never mind, he's down. The amount of times that his aide said to other people, this is illegal. And then several texts later be like, so when are we? It was incredible, man. It's really fascinating. And then there was like, I think it was like one of his campaign aides, one of the people that worked under him, was being interrogated. And as soon as she realized the interrogation wasn't friendly, she was like, can I go to the bathroom real quick? And so they were like, yeah, sure. And then she went to the bathroom and apparently started mass deleting as many text messages as she could. But then she was in there so long that the fans were like, she deleted text messages. Like, nobody got a boo-boo that bad. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe she is shitting herself, but not... I can just imagine you realize your boss about to go to jail, you might go to jail too, and now you in the bathroom just... I'll be right out. Oh, it's bad. Oh no. Y'all still there? I can't stress this enough. This dude sucks. Like, it's It's like, okay. Maybe one of the funniest things about the whole case is that we don't definitively know one way or the other, but there's a chance that this dude, like the last straw that broke everything, that had the roof come tumbling down, that kicked over his house of cards, might have been, maybe, Sabrina Carpenter. Inadvertently. I don't know if you remember, but Sabrina Carpenter did a music video for a song called Feather, right? And in that music video, she's in a church, right? And she got permission to be in that church. As controversial as everything was, and as much as the archdiocese freaked out after they saw the video and as upset as people were, she got permission, right? She did the right thing, and she asked, can I do my video here? She didn't just run in and be like, quick. She did everything by the book, right? And the person that allowed her was a Monsignor, right? This Monsignor gave permission to shoot in the church and everything. And then when the video comes out, obviously the archdiocese is all upset and stuff. They're like, nothing provocative or sexual should be in a church. That's what they said. Don't get weird with me. And so then they demoted the Monsignor. That's how mad they were, you know? They didn't fire him because I guess it's impossible to get fired at a church. You know, anybody else, any other job, they would have been like, you gotta go. But Catholic Church, they're like, no, we'll move you. Don't worry. And basically, one of the things that came from that whole thing, especially how public it was the feds subpoenaed the archdiocese over the Monsignor because he had connections, like as in a relationship or maybe even a business relationship with Eric Adams' chief of staff, right? And so they were like looking into it, and then Sabrina Carpenter's moved on. She just sort of like, oh, I didn't realize it. Whoops. And I don't know. I think that people don't realize how much trouble Eric Adams is in because this isn't like a police thing. This isn't like a local police or something. Like local police could run cover for a mayor. And so Eric Adams gets indicted, right? Present day, he gets indicted, and this dude holds a press conference. It's one of the worst press conferences I've ever watched in my entire life. This is incredible. People talk about Giuliani and everything when he did that 4 seasons press conference and stuff like that. Not gonna lie, this one put that one to shame, okay? This one was really, but first of all, they decided to do it outside. I don't really know why, but maybe he's not allowed in buildings. I have no idea. But they decided to do it outside, and they had a tent up because it was raining. But Eric Adams and he does this a lot. He does this in a way. This is one of the reasons I can't stand Eric Adams. This is one of the things that makes him suck, right? Is that whenever he's in trouble, whenever he needs something, he's very, very black. You know, and so now that he's in trouble, he has gathered around him every black person that will stand next to him, I suppose. And so he had everybody. He had so many people that they couldn't all fit under the tent. So now there are some people getting rained on halfway, just trying to lean in and everything. Do the one-sided thing. And the press conference starts, and there's protesters at the press conference. And, you know, Adams did some weird stuff. Like when he got indicted, he did like a message to New Yorkers and everything. And in the message, he says, like, I knew as soon as I stood up for New York, I would become a target. And then we were like, when did you stand up and who is targeting you? Like, this is odd. I've heard this language before, but I've never seen it make less sense since the last time I heard it. Yeah.
And finally, he goes ahead, he's doing press conference and stuff, and there's protesters there. And the protesters are screaming at him. They're like, you're an embarrassment. Don't try to act black now. You brought back stop and frisk. You brought back every policy that came down hard on the black community, but now you want to be black because you're in trouble and you want us to back you up at everything. And they're yelling. And the whole time, Eric Adams is like, You ever been at a restaurant and there's a couple trying not to fight? And then finally one of them can't take it anymore and she stands up and she's like, you cheating bastard, or whatever. And then he's like, It was that. And so he just stands like, okay. And then he lets people speak for him, right? So his pastor speaks and his other pastor speaks. And I think another pastor speaks. You go to extra church when you're in trouble, right? So then pastor after pastor after pastor are speaking, right? And all the pastors are like, hey, listen, we don't even know. Everybody has to have their day in court. Like, no one is actually professing this dude's innocence. Everybody's like, yeah, you can't judge lest ye be judged. And once again, remember, I told you it's one of the worst press conferences I've ever seen, because not only can not everybody fit under the tent, and not only are the people not making a convincing argument for Adams to be innocent, which is what we would very much like our elected official to be, right? This one lady gets up there, and she's been the loudest against the other protests. She's like, shut up, let him speak, blah, 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 right? And so it's her turn to speak. And then she gets up there, and she's like, good morning, New York! Like, she's just trying to shout everybody down. She's like, I've known Eric Adams for 40 years! And she's just screaming, right? And he is completely... And then the mic starts going out. Completely... And another thing... And he is not corrupt with a... Thank you. And then the dude went up there, and I don't really know what his position was. I don't know. He might have just been a black dude Eric Adams pulled that day, because this guy gets up there and he goes, good morning, New York. Good morning, New York. I've known Eric Adams for years, and he is, for 64 years, he has loved and served New York, and we cannot throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64. And I was like, where's the logic going here? You want that dude to be innocent because he's 64? Like, is that... There's no way he served 64. He just is alive for 64 years. But this dude was slick with it. He was like, do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. Nobody gonna kill him. Like, what are you talking about? Throwing away 64, we're not dating him. He got indicted. Do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64, thank you. I feel like that's the only dude that Eric Adams was like, probably should have let that be a tweet. And then it's Eric Adams' turn, right? And then counter protesters are yelling. They're like, you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to black people. You are an absolute embarrassment to the city. Okay? You trying to make it a black thing. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing. You're corrupt. You're corrupt by yourself. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing, right? This dude's screaming. And he's like, what? Why is anything you're saying different from Trump? You're talking about you standing in the way. Stand in the way of what? You corrupt by yourself, right? And then Eric Adams like, and then he starts taking questions, right? And some of the questions were, you said that as soon as you stood up for New Yorkers, you would become a target. Who do you think you're a target of? Like Homeland Security, or what? There are government bodies that are serving you this indictment. Who do you think is targeting you, and why? And then he was like, that's a question for the federal government. And I was like, okay, not a great start.
And then he goes, let me just get something clear right now. All right. And then the mic cuts out completely. It's like, I just want to say to y'all, that's all I gotta say. It was incredible, you know? Incredible. I don't know. I would love to see Eric Adams go to Rikers. I mean, particularly because of the terrible job he's done with Rikers. Just so you know, Rikers is a horrific place. It's been compared to Guantanamo Bay. Mainly because most of the people in Rikers, around 85%, have not been convicted of a crime. They just cannot afford to get off Rikers. They can't afford to pay bail and stuff like that. But they sit there until the trial, and the trial is sometimes 8 months away, 9 months away. So they're potentially innocent people just sitting there, rotting in a jail in terrible conditions because they just didn't have money. Any one of us could not have money. Most of us don't have enough money for the things we would like. So that's how close we are to being them. You know? And it's so bad that there's a federal monitor that's like over Rikers. And Eric Adams has worked with Rikers to subvert everything that would have them comply with the federal monitor. Right? It's horrific. And all they've really done is like try to throw money and staffing at the problem, but then money and staffing have become the problem because now Rikers is such a cushy job that there are a lot of people who don't show up for work. So now they really are wasting money because they'll be understaffed on a day where everyone is scheduled and then everyone calls in sick. And then people die at Rikers. People die every year at Rikers. You know, it's absolutely insane. And the staffing, if I'm correct, maybe I'm wrong, right? But last time I looked it up, the staffing was like 2 to 1. No jail has 2 to 1. No jail anywhere has 2 to 1, you know? And so what a poetic thing it would be, you know, for the guy that a year ago gave the key to the city to Diddy. To also be like indicted and charged and sitting in Rikers. It'd be dope to see Eric Adams at Rikers. They just, he gets there and they're like, what's up, buddy? Let's talk. Oh. And so many people have resigned too. So many people have resigned from Eric Adams' administration that I don't know who works at New York anymore. It's a lot of people. People nobody was talking to, by the way. Like people who just are like, I'm just in charge of the library, but I'm gonna go because the block is hot. I don't want these problems.